Hi y'all, welcome to my garden again. As you can see, I got a few raised beds here and I'm starting a tire garden over there. I got a container garden out front on my patio. These things are really a boon to people, especially folks that have got some physical restrictions. I mean, I had to go without gardening for 2 years because I couldn't get down on the ground. Well, here's the answer. Of course, the big question about that answer is how in the world am I going to find and afford enough soil to fill these things? Well, that's what today's video is about. I'm going to be showing you cheap, not free, but cheap way, an efficient way, and an effective way to get your, even no matter how tall they are, to get your tall raised beds and your tire garden and your container garden filled up with soil and medium that will support your plants and make them happy. Amen. So come on along and see what we're going to be doing. We'll go out there and we'll mix up some dirt in a few minutes. But first, before I do that, the biggest secret, I guess, is you don't really need 17 inches of topsoil. This is a 17-inch tall bed here. You don't need 17 inches of soil for the roots of your plants to grow in. Truth is, you only need about 3 to 6 inches in there, depending on the plant. So what are we going to do about that? Well, last year's Bale Garden gave me the idea to build some boxes and put the bales in the bottom and condition them just like you would for a Bale Garden. And then that still leaves us a few inches on top where we can put our soil. That's going to feed our plants. It's going to hold water for our plants. It's going to be just as a real good nutritional and a good nutrient holding mix. And as that bale decomposes, it'll settle some, but it's also going to make more nutrients as it decomposes. And next spring, it'll be a little bit lower because the bales are going to decompose, everything's going to settle. We'll just go mix up some more soil like I'm going to show you in a few minutes and top them up. Okay, right now before we go and look at the containers and stuff, before we start mixing up our soil, I wanted to show you the beginnings of my tire garden, and just so you can see what I'm talking about. These are all going to be at least 2 tires high, some of them may be 3 tires high, and that lower level, that lower tire, is going to be completely filled with straw. Now, this is old straw and hay from last year's tire garden, or last year's Bale Garden, but you can actually use new straw, new hay. You can use dried grass clippings, anything like that to fill that up. Then over here, I put the second bale on, the second tire on, and put a little more straw on the bottom because I only need 6-8 inches in there of dirt. So we're going to put a little more straw in there, then we'll top this baby up with dirt, with soil, and we'll be good to go for planting our tomatoes, potatoes, sweet potatoes, beans, whatever. So that's what we got in mind for today. Let's go over and see what we got going on for mixing up some soil to put on top of here, okay? There's a lot of misconception about dirt, and I think it's probably been promoted by the companies that sell bagged dirt. But I learned a long time ago that from 2 different world-renowned, I want to say agronomists, but horticulturalists. One was James Mittleader, who fostered the Mittleader method, which you can hear a lot more about that on the LDS Preppers site, and I'll try to get a link to one of his to that and put in the description for you. But the other was Joseph Rodale. He's known as the father of organic gardening, and some of the things that he published and talked about will really surprise you when you get down to it, but I'm not going to go in there today. Right now I want to talk mostly about what Mittleader said, and basically when you look at the basics of a plant, whether it be a vegetable or tree or whatever it is, the earth, the soil that it's planted in basically serves 2 purposes. One is to give the roots something to hold on to so that it can support the plant, hold it up. And the other is just simply to hold moisture and nutrients and micronutrients so that the plant can take them up. So with that in mind, what I'm using to top off my bunkers and my pots is actually, I started out using peat moss because that's what I had. And then I found one of the local nurseries raises chrysanthemums to sell. And he had a whole bunch of this burger. It's called nutrient holding mix. And really all it is peat moss with vermiculite and perlite already mixed into it. Now there's no nutrients in this, but this is the base of my potting soil. What I'm going to do is I'll use about half of this bale. This is a 3.8 cubic foot bale. About half of that will fill this about a third of the way up. I'm going to put that in there. Now again, this has no nutrients in it. This is sold as a nutrient holding mix is what it's called. So we're going to have to add some nutrients. Now you could, if you wanted to, you could mix in just some, you can use natural fertilizers, blood meal, bone meal, that kind of thing, and mix it right into this. You could use granular with the micronutrients and mix it into it. I like to add these. I don't know if it actually helps or not, but it makes me feel good. This is alfalfa pellets. Alfalfa is a tremendous natural, not only plant food, but it also encourages, like if you put it in a compost pile, put alfalfa in a compost pile, it's high nitrogen and it'll encourage the decomposition of the compost and make it go down faster. But what I'm using for a secret weapon for my plant food is over there. I've got a pile of aged horse manure. I want to give you just a brief rundown on manure as a plant food here. First of all, not all manure is created equal when it comes to garden planting. Now, horse manure, there are certain kinds of manure that are known as hot manure. Those include cow manure, pig manure, chicken manure is really hot. Human feces, dog feces, those are all hot manures. They have so much, I guess it's nitrogen that they have in them, but it's an overdose. You put those in here, or put them on your plants, and it'll burn your plants. They need to age first. They need to compost out for at least 6 months. On the other hand, rabbit manure, you can take rabbit manure right out from under the cage and throw it on your plants, and they'll be happy with it. So that would be great to mix in here. I don't have any rabbits. Horse manure is another one. It's not quite as cold as rabbit manure, but what I've got over here is mixed in with pine chip bedding, and that has caused it to kind of react and cool down a little bit. And honestly, you could take horse manure that's only a few weeks old, and you could actually plant right in it, and it wouldn't harm your vegetables. They wouldn't have everything they need for it to grow right, but you could even mix almost fresh manure right into this with horse manure. So anyway, I've got a little bit of aged manure over here. We're going to mix that in and stir it all up, and then we'll see you after a bit. I'm going to take you over there now and show you where it's at. Well, here's my little fertilizer pile, my little horse manure pile, and it's almost gone. I'm going to have to go get some more. I have a friend that raises racehorses, so it's not a problem getting the horse manure, but next time it's going to be fresh. So I'm just a little more comfortable using it rotted, but it'll still work out as long as we mix it with the peat moss and stuff there. So anyway, I'm going to load this up. I got some stuff to show you after a while. I want to show you what we're going to do with it. and show you some of the results from it. Okay, I gotta stir this up really good. And when I get that done, we're gonna have to soak it with water. You want this pre-soaked with water before you go and put it in your pots. Otherwise, it just takes forever to get it wet. Lately, it hasn't been a problem because it's been raining so much here in Missouri that I can just leave the trailer set out overnight, and in the morning it's ready to go. But nope, no rain predicted tonight, so I'm gonna have to water it. Anyway, we're gonna stir it up good. Break up all the chunks that you can. Simple process. You can do this in a wheelbarrow. You can do it in a bucket. You can just do it out on the driveway or the sidewalk. There we go. You can see some of my container garden here. And I've done all of these as far as filling them. I filled them all the same way. Got potatoes down there on the end. My sun's glaring on my camera, so I can't tell what I got for sure. But I got potatoes down there. And I got some peppers and onions. Got 3 tubs with cabbages and onions in them. Got a tub there with a early tomato and a marigold to protect it. Got some peas here. Gonna be putting up a trellis around them pretty quick, and I got carrots just starting to come through on this one. But right now we're gonna fill this one up so I can get my pole beans going. Well, you can see I got some straw in there, and I still got probably 14 inches to fill up, so I want to put some more straw in it. These pole beans don't need more than about 3 or 4 inches, 6 at the most, of dirt, and since we've got soft organic material below that, those roots can still go down farther even to get the nutrients that they need there and the water that they need. So we're just going to fill it up a ways further with straw and put some of that dirt mixture that we made the other day in on top of that. So here we go. Again, this is basically a nutrient holding mix. Peat moss and vermiculite and perlite. But I put in some alfalfa pellets and some composted horse manure to put some nutrients in it. And it's going to be good stuff. Plants are going to love this. There we go. That'll settle a little bit. We get those beans in there, and they're going to be happy beans. Amen. I got another one down there to fill, and after that I'm going to go out and top up my first that first set of tires out there, and maybe even a little bit for the raised beds. So hang on, we'll go for a ride and we'll get them taken care of. Okay, you can see this is my first stack of tires. You can see the straw down in there. I'm going to get a little bit more straw in it for filler, just a little bit before we start with the conduit. There, that ought to be real good. That's going to give us a good 10 inches of soil in there if I fill it up. And I like to get something up in the tire itself as much as possible. It doesn't have to be all the way, because when it comes out in the air, it'll just prune, the roots will just prune off from the air, which is probably better for them anyway. They're not gonna, got a little bit of air space around there, they're not gonna get root bound. So, but I guess I'm just kind of particular that way. I want all my empty spaces filled, okay? Now we're gonna get some soil in there. That's the first time for me making a tire garden. In my mind, I thought I'm going to have to bolt those tires together or stake them or something, but I see everybody else that I see doing this just lets them stack, and they are pretty solid, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. You notice I wasn't real particular about getting dirt down inside the tire. I think this is probably going to settle a little bit. Some of that's going to fall in there anyway. We may have to top it up later on, but this is all, doesn't have to go all the way out. If there's some air space out there, it'll prune the roots and keep the plants healthier than if they were just packed right in there. So anyway, there we go. That's ready to plant. And then we're going to call it a day.